Hello, everyone. Welcome to another class with Hunsi Lento and myself. We're so happy to have you guys here. We're going to give everyone just a few minutes to get in here and to open up the live. Today, we're going to be doing a mental health discussion, okay? And we're going to give you guys some spiritual remedies that you can do to alleviate 5 mental health issues that we see inside of our community. Open up the live. Today, we're going to be doing a mental health discussion.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this link in my Facebook group too.
Hello, you all. Let me know who's here. I'm going to go ahead, I guess, and open up the Facebook on my phone just so I have access to it. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Where are you guys tuning in from? Okay. Hello, everyone. You will go ahead and like the post as you come in and let me know that you're here, where you're tuning in from. We're going to be having a discussion tonight on mental health and 5 areas of your mental health that we see commonly in the Black community and some ways that we can use our spirituality to heal those areas.
Yes, it's so important. I think this conversation is so important to have, especially in the current climate
Right.
that we're in. Let me see. I think it's going to be a great discussion tonight and shed some light.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to give everyone maybe another 2 to 4 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the class tonight. For those of you who were here with us at our last class, the sacral chakra class, Lord, I still have a hard time saying that together. Like, bless me. Have you guys put it together? Like, have you used the bath? Like, what has been your experience with doing the sacral chakra ritual that we gave you guys last week?
Hopefully they did it. Everybody takes down the ingredients and the instructions, but the follow through be iffy sometimes. Y'all gotta actually do it. Don't just consume the information and not use it to help your life. Was the YouTube link shared in Discord?
I did not share the YouTube link in Discord.
I'm gonna share it in there as well.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. And then we can go ahead and get started after I do that. Let's see. Copy. Live class links.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for class tonight. we are doing a discussion on mental health. And I had asked those who were already here if they had done the sacral chakra work that we did last time, how that was going for them, how, if they saw any kind of results coming out, if they felt some healing going on in their sacral chakra. Or if y'all just ain't did it yet, you can just, give it the emoji. You know which one I'm talking about. That's cool too. Okay. Okay. So, Hunsi, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started for tonight. Again, my name is Priestess Ifamiloni. I'm here with Hunsi Linto. And tonight we're going to be having a discussion on the mental health of the Black community, 5 things that we see commonly in the mental health of the Black community, and some spiritual remedies that you can use to help disease that, or to help ease that disease. Sorry. Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, how does the history of the Black community affect our mental health as a people? And so what we know is all of our experiences are different as Black people, right? But we have shared cultural factors that have played a role that we can't ignore in what's going on. Some of these factors include like our values, like the importance of family, the importance of spirituality, the music that we like, the dances that we do, and just the community aspect of our people in general. We know that African people are people of the community, just from the African traditional religions that we practice. Okay. These all can provide us with support through a mental health crisis and give us someone to lean on, or kind of give us a coping mechanism if that's something that we need. However, we also have to acknowledge that these things can also hurt there are certain things that can hurt our mental health as a whole. The Black community is at a significantly increased risk of developing a mental health issue due to the historical, the economic, the social, the political influences that systematically expose the Black community to factors that are known to be like damaging to your psyche and your physical health. Okay, so we're talking about things like racism, we're talking about things like oppression, colonialism, segregation, discrimination and inequality, the police brutality, institutionalized racism. We can't forget pandemic. We're in the middle of COVID-19 right now, and how it has affected our homes and our communities. We also need to talk about mental enslavement, right? Because our people are not physically enslaved anymore. So what is mental enslavement? That's going to be the enslavement that some of us face because of the Western culture that we live in, that has placed these shackles on us and continue to maintain it. And the list goes on and on and on. Okay. We also, need to acknowledge that some of the issues that we have mentally come from some of the places that should be providing us support. Okay. You don't have to stay in touch with that toxic family member, or you don't have to stay in an abusive relationship. Like, get out of that, leave those places, leave those spaces, leave those relationships. Don't stay there at the risk of your own mental health and peace. Okay. The adult Black community is 20%, okay, more likely to experience serious mental health problems, such as like major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety disorder. Our community also comprises approximately 40% of the homeless population, 50% of the prison population, and 45% of children in the foster care system. And so research shows that when you have exposure to violence, to incarceration, to involvement in the foster care system, that can increase the chances of developing y'all, why can't I speak tonight? Developing a mental illness, okay? So we can see what these statistics, why and how our community suffers from mental health the way that it does, okay? So I feel like we need to destigmatize, mental health and the way that we see that. I feel like that can be achieved by helping people in our community understand that mental health is an essential part of well-being, just like, a healthy diet or getting enough hours of sleep or, trying to get at least 30 minutes of exercise in a day. It's not a form of weakness if you need to seek professional help. It's just a part of taking care of yourself in your everyday life. We have to stop being afraid of asking for professional help when we need it. I know that for me personally, I grew up around people and in an environment where seeking out therapy was seen as like something for white people. They would say, like, you don't need that. We're strong. Go pray on it. And it could bring up feelings of shame if were saw to go being seeing someone for your mental health, or like you might make you feel like you might be seen differently by the people, your own people. Did you have any experience like that, Hunsi?
For myself, personally, in my family, um, I've definitely seen it. I haven't personally experienced it with my own mental health. For me, I've had my own problems, like just not wanting to share. And I
Mhm.
can't necessarily relate that back to any childhood trauma or anything like that. But what I can say, it probably is closely related to religion, how I grew up. I grew up Lutheran, Christian
Mhm.
Lutheran. Um, and in a church, you pray. They say you had a what do they call it? The older generation calls it like a she had a breakdown. You know,
Right.
when the person in your family finally like just
A
can't take
breakthrough.
a breakthrough, a break when they go crazy. When I say they went crazy and they had, I can't remember the phrase they used, but I heard my grandma use it once. And
Uh-huh.
it's really just that person, they haven't been able to access the resources in the community to help with the bipolar, depression, um, whatever it is that they're dealing with, and they finally just have a break in
Mhm.
reality almost.
Yeah.
Um, what I can also say is that Black mental health is still widely and highly stigmatized, especially in the areas or the ghettos, the places that don't have the resources, the places where people are still struggling to survive because of racism, because of employment inequality, and things such as that. We don't have those who don't have the access to those resources, and mental health is still not discussed on a level where it's digestible for the Black community, for them to
Mhm.
understand, like, oh, I understand body health, I understand sexual health, but nobody really still talks about mind health, brain health. Your brain needs exercise and relaxation, and it needs to be able to breathe.
Yep.
Um, and I also want to talk about how we all know that all African people have that generational trauma. We know our ancestors endured, who God knows, we know what
All
during
of.
slavery, right? So we still have that in our DNA. That's passed to us through our DNA.
Yeah.
I feel like generational depression is definitely a thing. Our ancestors who are not healed, our family who we have not venerated, who we have not done the work for, who still need healing and need help. I feel like that definitely plays a role in the living's life as well, which is why I feel like it's highly important to, if you don't know how to venerate your ancestors, if you don't know how to honor them, if you don't know how to pray to them for their protection and blessings, you're at a greater chance of becoming subject to falling into depression and
Yep.
not knowing which way to get out, and not being able to hear your ancestors when they're trying to help you, and just not accessing your full spiritual team to be
Yep.
able to help you through those battles.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. It's so important to be tapped in, to be able to hear when they speak to you and what they have to say to you so they can alert you. A
Hmm.
lot of times your ancestors will alert you before something even happens, like, hey, this is coming up, be on alert so that you can be preventative instead of reactive. you
Yeah.
know? Um, but like I was saying, I was told a lot of stuff like that growing up, basically that we handle our own. And I can
Yeah.
understand that with the history of like the health community and, things that have happened to our people in the health industry. But in my opinion, what that has done is increase the amount of hurt and struggle that we have gone through as a people, right?
Mhm.
We need to not be afraid to ask for that professional help, whether that's therapy or seeking a psychiatrist or getting on meds. We need to utilize the tools that we have to help us in our mental health.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No,
that
go
just
ahead.
made me think of something. I want to also stress that, our spiritual community is really, we support each other, we lean on it and rely on each other for support, but it is not a substitute for seeing a licensed professional.
Yeah.
It should be used in tandem with. So your spirituality, your spiritual community um, should be used in tandem with if you need a prescription, if you need to go to therapy once a week, once a month, whichever one. Don't lean on spirituality as a crutch because you need both physical and spiritual.
Right. They need to work together.
Together.
Okay. Our mental health as a community, it really rests on the ability of Black people to utilize all of their resources, like everything that they have access to. So, your friends, your family, your spiritual leaders and elders, your spiritual brothers and sisters, professional help. And that includes our magic that our ancestors have passed down to us, from the beginning of time to
Mhm.
fight the debilitating effects of like everything that our people have went through collectively.
Mhm.
So I wanted to go ahead and preface with all of this history so that you guys can kind of understand where we come from as a people, like why we have this going on inside of our community. So let's get into some common mental health problems we see and some spiritual remedies that we can use to help alleviate them. These are by no means, like Hunsi said, a replacement for seeing your doctor. We are not trained medical professionals. We are trained spiritual priests. Okay. So, like, please still get with your doctor if you need that, if you feel suicidal, or if you're in a state of mental emergency, please seek help immediately. Okay. So
Absolutely.
Hunsi, did you want to talk about the first point?
Yeah. And also, before I get to even the first point, because you brought up suicide, the reason why, before we get into the meat and potatoes of everything,
Mhm.
the reason why we wanted to discuss mental health is because the current climate that we're in, I don't know if whoever's on live, if you've seen all the reports of people committing suicide, people just ending it all. And it's young people too, 26, 27, 22. A lot of people that are seen in the media that are influencers and stuff like that. Regina, I think her name is Regina King.
Yeah, her son.
Um, yeah, her son committed suicide, and I don't think she had any idea.
Mm-mm.
Um, I can't remember her name, but the woman who won, I think she won Miss USA,
Oh yeah.
or
uh,
she
what- Maybe,
she
yeah, I know who you're
She was a
talking.
pageant. Yeah, she was a top pageant woman. Very beautiful, very, very smart and intelligent. She committed suicide. She jumped out of her um, window. She left her mom a note. Her mom had no idea what she was going through. And I think this is important because we're still in COVID times. Even though we're
Mhm.
not on lockdown, we're still in COVID times. We're still in a position where most of our interactions are online. A lot of people are working remote and are not able to access, human interactions and things such as that. So it was just really important for us to talk about mental health in preparation for our 2 week self love challenge because they directly correlate um, into one another. And that's the basis of why we're doing our 2 week self love challenge. Also, if you're interested in that, please make sure you're signing up. The challenge begins on February 14th. You're going to be receiving spiritual products created by myself and Priestess Milani. It's going to be include a soap, a spray, and
A bath.
a bath. Sorry. Soap spray and a bath, enchanted by us, enchanted by our spirits from us, and lots of other content. So please, I don't know if we have the link. I don't have the link directly on me, but it will put it in the comments
I'll
too.
drop it.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, while you do that, I'll go ahead and get into what I wanted to into some of the different mental health diseases and remedies. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was the seasonal depression. Um, I actually experienced this, and it's not as severe as others, but I actually experienced this. I'm an earth sign. I think that's an important thing here too. So I'm a Capricorn. So I am closely related to earth and its different physicalities. So we know during the winter, everything dies, right? Everything is going into hibernation, things die. We're inside, people don't want to be outside, and things such as that, right? During this season, I have to work particularly hard to have a more positive mindset in the
Mhm.
morning. I wake up, the sun isn't out. I wake up, it's cold and windy. I just don't like it. And I've fallen into depression. Like, I don't know what's wrong, but I finally figured it out. So if you are an earth sign, um, I feel like you should really be aware of your environmental surroundings and understanding what your body is telling you, and not necessarily that it's coming from your brain, but it could be really, since we're so connected, we could feel like we're enclosed and things such as that.
Mhm.
So again, to point out, like you said, being aware, being alert, and listening to our ancestors as well. So during this time, I may actually curate my own special bath for me when winter is coming. I might keep those in stock, right? So let me take a bath twice a month this month because I know I'm gonna be less enthusiastic. I'm gonna be a little bit more negative. I'm gonna need a pep talk
Mhm.
from my spirit team and things such as that. I also wanted to talk about postpartum depression, and that's relevant in all cultures, but especially in Black culture and the way, um, because of our history and our current reality in the healthcare industry,
Yeah.
postpartum depression is so high. Being able to recognize when after you have your child, you're not feeling okay, is definitely the first step. But I wanted to give some herbs that you can use. You can use this in tandem with this spray, a bath. You can make it into a soap and oil. Um, so the herbs I have for this are jasmine, raspberry, columbine. And these are herbs that you can use not only to lift your spirits up, but this is going to also enlist help from your spirit team. It's almost like a SOS signal to your spirit team that you need a little bit more support than regular, right?
Yeah.
But what I do, I mostly recommend a bath because if you're just out of giving birth, a bath is going to be soothing. Um, and hopefully you'll have the support to be able to take that bath, because I know for me, when I was pregnant with my son, after I had my son, um my family was around, but I was the only one getting up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning to feed. I was not given like the princess treatment, you know what I'm saying? Like,
The
people weren't,
help that a lot of people give.
yeah, the support, like, what do you need? Do you need this? Do you need that? Like, that was not my story. And my family was supportive, just not as supportive as I'd like them to be in the
Mhm.
moment. But anyways, so try to whatever support system you have, if you have friends, family, ask them for help. Don't be afraid to ask so that you can actually take these baths. Um, what I also want to talk about is, I'm sorry, my notes here. Using mugwort. Mugwort is a very powerful herb. Okay, mugwort targets your third eye chakra. Mugwort allows you to open up your third eye chakra, and it's also specifically for your brain, right? So if you sleep with mugwort and you pray and you enchant, I'm not going to get into the whole magical process of it right now, but doing all the things you need to do with your herb, with the mugwort herb before you use it, you can sleep with it under your pillow. You can carry it with you in like a I don't want to call it a satchel. I'm having brain farts tonight. Um
Sachet.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. You carry it around with you. Those small things can really help you get on the path that you need to get on to healing. Um
Mhm.
Much faster than you would without any help. Again, combining that along with talking to your family, talking to your therapist, and expressing your actual feelings.
And I think that's really important to mention, like, with especially with postpartum depression, because it can be like really extended and you might not recognize it right away. I think sometimes the doctors like make it seem like you want to kill your kid and you want to kill yourself when it doesn't always like
Look like
present
that.
that way. You
Yeah.
know, with my son, he's the youngest. He just turned 7 in January, and I had postpartum the first 2 years of his life.
Mhm.
Right. And it was just like I was fighting and pushing through it and trying to figure out what was wrong. And it wasn't until like I brought it up to my therapist that she was like, this is postpartum. You know, this is not, you know, what they tell you to look for, you know, the
Mhm.
most extreme cases. But like
Mhm.
if you feel a certain type of way at all after giving birth, your hormones are messed up, like just
Mhm.
bring it up to your doctor. You know, it's worth the conversation for sure.
I'm glad you brought up that it wasn't just when he was a baby too, like it went on up to 2 years. Like
Yeah.
you guys should know that postpartum depression doesn't just end after the baby. Oh, the baby's 1 years old now, so I'm
It's gonna
good.
go
Like
away.
it can go on. And again, it's not always the most extreme cases for a lot of people. That's what we read, you know, in the news and on social media and stuff. I remember after I had my son, I was in the shower and I just started crying. And I was just sad. I was just generally sad. I love my son. I was so happy he was there, like just so in love and still am in love with him. But I was just sad. I was just sad. And nobody asked me anything. Nobody, nobody in my family, nobody asked me anything. I was just sad and depressed and hungry and
And
tired.
I think too with this rhetoric that we have about being the strong, independent Black woman, like they they don't ask as much, you know, because they expect
Mhm,
us to be able to handle it and to be able to hold our own. We're just as vulnerable as any other woman that has been through this life changing process, you know. But that's, you know, another conversation,
that's
I
another
suppose.
conversation.
Hmm.
That's definitely another conversation. If you are subscribing to the trope of strong Black woman, you need to be in our 2-week self-love challenge,
Yeah,
for
you
real.
do. Yeah, you do.
Because we relaxing, we not doing
We're feminine over here. We're gonna relax and be
we
receptive.
relaxing. We're damsel in distress. Help me now, please.
You guys, if you like as you come into the video, thank you so much for joining us for the live tonight. For those of you who are just getting here, we are having a discussion on mental health, and this is in preparation for our 2-week self-love challenge. Okay, so if you'll like, and just tell us where you guys are coming in from as you come on the live. We're gonna keep going with depression though with Hunsi.
Okay. Well, I was actually was I done with that point?
You had mentioned postpartum last.
Postpartum. Okay, yeah. So enlisting the help of your family if you have them. And if you feel like you don't have Fairburn, Georgia, oh, you need to come get your lashes done in Douglasville. Anyways, if you are dealing with that you need to if you do know how to work with your ancestors and you need more support or you need to encourage your family to support or they're not just understanding, you can also do work to get your family more involved, right?
Mhm.
So let's not downplay prayer, just simple. Not even using herbs or a spiritual bath or um, satchels and things such as that. Let's just pray. How many of you are depressed as hell or sad as hell or you go through stuff and you don't even pray? You know, you're going to sleep without asking God, asking your spirit team for help. I think that's the first thing that people should know. The second thing is that how are you praying? Are you praying with intention?
Mhm.
Um,
That PRAY method. If you don't know what that
PRAI,
is,
you know, I was about to bring
need
it up.
mentorship.
Priscilla Shire, you know, I was about to bring it up. That PRAY. Okay. If you are not praying with intention, if you are not specific about what it is you need, what it is you want, um, if you don't have the specifics on that, then just give it up. And on top of that, you're not even able to manifest anything if you're not specific and have your manifestation prayer together.
Yeah.
Um, and just so you all know, the PRAY method stands for praise, repent, ask, and then yes. If you don't know what that is, you can actually, I don't know if y'all have it in your guys' Facebook group, Priscilla Shira's book,
I'm not
but
sure if we have it attached as a file or not, but we definitely
okay,
do give it out as a part of our
yeah.
community outreach program.
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely it's the content is out there and available. I also have it in my Facebook group, and it's out as a document for you guys to see. But you could be praying all the time and not be and not be saying the right things and not be asking for the right things. Your
Yep.
ancestors can be funny. I know mine are. Mine be funny. So
Yeah, they are. I
that's
wa
all I have to, huh?
I wanted to touch on depression really fast and bring up, like, that Priestess Oshun always says that, like, depression is brokenheartedness. It can, come that way. Heart disease is the number one
Mhm.
killer of Black women in the United States. Suffering in silence and not asking for help are causes for depression and is often a result of like grief that we have when we fall short, of like our goals or our kids or our
Mhm.
partners or like how we feel like we're supposed to show up in society. Um, you know, we don't say anything. And all of this pent up emotion, it gets depressed, right? Or like pushed down. Um, so speaking up, like this is more of a non-spiritual way, but like just make sure you speak up for about how you feel, and that's a good way to get the healing started. If you know someone that is really going through depression, I found that being present is perhaps the most healing spiritual energy that we can offer. Um, I think that it's important initially that, we sit there with them in that dark place that we are without trying to fix it, to offer empathy and non-judgment. Okay. And then when that person feels ready and they feel, and trust your non-judging presence and doesn't think you're like there to, start something,
Mhm.
then you can hold out, hope and a gentle challenge to action that promotes recovery. Um, some other things that I used whenever I was going through depression, I would make a tea. So like you could make like a chamomile tea that could help with like insomnia. Which I would have sometimes, like it would be one or the other, right? Like I either couldn't fall asleep or I would sleep all day long.
Mhm.
Um, Green tea also has like theanine in it, which is known to like fight depression. So you could make a green tea, and then lemon balm and lavender, those are like just regular herbs, but you can make a tea too.
And you
Um,
can enchant those herbs and drink it too.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Enchant them herbs, okay?
Enchant them. Talk to
Um,
them.
some crystals that I use the smoky quartz. I did use citrine and like a rose quartz as well. Were helpful um, for depression as well.
Let's also real quick before we go to the next one. I like that you touched on how depression can present differently. Um, for me, depression definitely showed up as being just diving into my work and sleep.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if you have somebody in your life that you know is always working nonstop, I mean that was me. Like I have these bursts of working, just
Mhm.
working, whatever. Got to get this money. Got to do this. Got to do that. Just working. And nobody saw it as, oh, she's going through something. They just saw it as, oh, she's a workaholic. This is something that she does. Da 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 da. But if you see somebody like that, if you're this person, that's not healthy. You're gonna burn yourself out.
Quick,
Um,
fast, and in a hurry.
too fast and in a hurry. And just a side note too, I'm recalling in high school how my grandma, I don't necessarily recall being depressed. Maybe this was relationship depression. I don't know, but my grandma used to ask me like, "Why are you sleeping so much? Are you depressed?" She literally said those two things. At that time, I didn't know what depression was. I'm like, "Grandma, what are you? I'm just sleepy." Like, but I was taking really long naps. I would come home, sleep, wake up, eat, sleep, go to school, and sleeping in the morning at my
Mm.
desk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but the thing is, she didn't dig deeper. She would just take what I said at kind of face value, even if she thought differently.
Right.
So I also want to say, don't let up. Just keep your eyes open. If somebody isn't ready to talk about their depression, or maybe they may not know, but be alert of the others around you, of the signs that you see of depression as well.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. We have to be more aware of each other if we're going to heal as a community. Uh,
Mhm.
And yeah, it's going to take work.
Yeah.
But it's good work. It's good work.
Mm-hmm.
So don't grow weary in well doing. The next point that we want to talk about is anxiety or like worry. So anxiety can manifest itself in the form of strong feelings, desperate thoughts, physical, mental, emotional tension, and like this inner like restlessness, like you can't settle in, right? Um, After an episode of anxiety or like a panic attack, you're going to be tired. You're going to be wore out. You're going to be exhausted because your nervous system has been on haywire. It's been in overdrive for a prolonged amount of time. I know whenever I used to have anxiety attacks, often like they would last for hours. Like I would have one for like 2 or 3 hours, like, and it's exhausting at the end of that, right? Like you're just ready to go to bed. You're tired, you're wore out. If you recognize this, the first thing I want to say is work on your sacral chakra, because it probably is out of balance. And we did a class on this last week. You can find it on the YouTube page or the Arisha Hoodoo Coven Facebook group. It has a bath recipe. It has positive affirmations and like a meditation for you. And for the people who have given me feedback inside of our community outreach program, I've gotten really good feedback from those who did the ritual. If you're here now and you did it, you can drop if you had any what kind of success you had with the program, with the bath recipe and the affirmations and things like that. But that's the first thing that I would tell you, is to look at your sacral chakra, and it's probably out of alignment. Okay. The second thing that I would tell you to do is to go earth. Okay, so go earthing. You can go outside and connect with nature. Okay, and this is best done if you are barefooted, where you can actually get some contact with the earth. Okay, go for a walk. If it's not snowing, take your socks off, right? And release those negative energies back into the earth. Another way that you can do that is gardening if it's warm out, or if you're like a seasonal gardener or you work with like plants and stuff like that. That's another way that you can release like anxiety, is to kind of get those ions back into the earth. Okay. Something else that you can do is create a sigil, that is for release of anxiety and worry. And you can draw it like with your spoon or with your fork or with your knife, like in your food, or you can draw it in a cup of tea and then consume that, right? So it's in your body, and that's activating the sigil that way. You could also write the sigil on like a piece of paper and affix it somewhere that you're going to see all the time. So, like your planner, you can put it somewhere in your space, like on a wall, to keep your anxiety at bay. Okay. If you are in traditional mentorship, or if you're in our community outreach program, you can feed your Ori or work with your Ori. If not, you can just pray to your Ori in the morning when you first wake up. For those of you who don't know maybe what or who Ori is, Ori is our first Orisha, right? The Odu says, he who is faster in aiding us than the Orisha, right? Like he's going to come faster. Your Ori is, okay? They come with us into this life and they leave with us when we go, okay? We know that every person was born with a destiny or a purpose, and we come here to the marketplace. We come here to earth, right? That's what earth is. We believe in Ifa as the marketplace, to fulfill that destiny. And anxiety and worry can come from being disconnected to your Ori and to that destiny that you're here to fulfill, while you're here on earth. Okay. If you're focused on your destiny and doing what your purpose is, you won't have to worry, because you know that you're in alignment and that your path is being guided, and that everything that you need will be provided for you. Okay. Um, Amethyst is really good crystal for this. My girl Lang Lang, the oil that we used last week in the sacral chakra class, you can use that oil. You can use lemongrass essential oil or herb, and you can also use sandalwood. Those are all going to be really good to help work with anxiety and any kind of worry that you might be having.
Mm-hmm. Sandalwood. I haven't used that in any work that I've ever done. And I don't know why.
It was so
And I
good.
know, and I feel it in my spirit. Like that sounds like a very good herb
We'll
to
get you
use.
some.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the main things. I definitely deal with anxiety. I don't know if it's because I'm a Capricorn, but I'm always worried about, I need to know, I need to be in control, right? I need to
Mhm.
know everything that's going on. I need to plan for it. If the plan gets messed up, I'm in a frenzy. If something happens, I'm kind of in the frenzy. Not on the outside, but on the inside, I'm like my heart beating fast,
Yeah.
such as that. So I know for myself, I've literally resorted to meditation.
Mhm.
Um, because I've had to learn to quiet my mind. I've also had to, it's become such a relevant thing for me as well, because I read, you read with the spirit board too and your pendulum.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
mind has to be working accurately. It can't be in a frenzy. It can't be loud and saying all these different thoughts and statements that aren't even true. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You need to be able
So
to
I
hear
definitely,
clearly.
exactly. So if I
Mm.
have all this anxiety talk in my head, I can't give you a reading. And I just, I can't do it.
You don't want it, baby, at that point.
At this point, I'm projecting my problems onto you during the reading. No, but meditation is definitely something that I've had to incorporate as a lifestyle.
Mhm.
Um, Again, we talked about this within a sacral chakra class. Meditation is so important, and people think it's so boring, but you need it. You need to quiet your mind, and meditation doesn't have to look like you sitting on the floor with your legs crossed. Some people meditate while exercising, while they're on their elliptical,
Yep.
and they just zone
Doing
out.
yoga.
Some people can meditate when they're making music or just listening to music, and can just zone out. It's just being consciously aware that you're zoned out into the inside of your mind and in your spirit and things such as that. So don't take this as, oh, everybody says meditation. Yes, it's everywhere. Everybody talks about meditation, but it's very important, and find the meditation style that works for you.
Exactly. And make sure you're tapped into your ancestors when you meditate, or the spirits that walk with you. You don't want to be just out here open for any and everything to come into your ori. Like,
Right.
make sure you're tapped into a reliable, safe, energy. Energetic energy. Y'all know what I mean. It's
And
late,
if
y'all.
you don't know, then you should be in mentorship, or at least you should be in the 2 week challenge. If you don't know, if these terms to you are unfamiliar, you don't know where to start or where to begin, please join our 2 week self love challenge. We'll be doing live meditations, and we'll talk about the process of meditation and all of that as well.
Yep, breath work, how important that is.
Mhm.
Also, if you are in the community outreach programs and you're still not sure, I would recommend getting ancestral life path readings. Okay, those are going to help you lock it down. Right, you're going to know exactly when to communicate, how to communicate, what to give them. Like, ancestral life path readings are going to help you lock it down. So if you have not booked one of those and you need guidance on how to work with your ancestors, go ahead and book one of those with one of us. Okay.
Yes,
So the
absolutely.
next point that we're going to talk about is self-love and negative self-talk. Okay.
This is so interesting because seems like all the mental health topics I've actually encountered. So especially the negative self-talk. So negative self-talk, the voice that you hear in your head, what is it saying to you? Is the voice in your head always negative or telling you you can't do it? Is it always finding reasons why you shouldn't love yourself, why you're not enough? And things such as that. When we hear these voices, we then begin to, how can I say it? Begin to show it on the outside. So if I believe that I'm not worthy, I'm going to, maybe if I'm trying to find a date, I'm going to not dress the nicest. So somebody has a reason. I'm going to start creating reasons for other people to reject me, right? Because
Mhm.
I've already rejected myself and things such as that. I also want to talk about self actualization because that's something I actually went through. So, what self actualization is coming into the full consciousness of who you are and what you can do. It's a really powerful, motivating, inspirational moment in your head and in your spirit that you're like, wait a minute, I've been doubting myself, and the only person that's holding me back is me.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how many of you, I'm sure people, when people watch this, How many of you haven't started your business? How many of you haven't followed your passion? How many of you go to sleep after your 9 to 5 thinking about how much you can make it better or what you would do here or what you would do there? Um, and you haven't made a move because you don't think you can actually do it, or you make excuses. Oh, I'm too busy. I have kids to take care of. And those are valid excuses, but once you get into self actualization, you begin to stop making excuses and you start making opportunities. Because the
Right.
way you see, if in my head, if I'm skiing and there are trees all around, right? And I'm focused on don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree. The next thing I'm gonna do is hit a tree. Don't focus on what you're not trying to get. See the opportunity. So if I'm focusing on the open path, oh, open path here, open path there, opportunity, I'm going to just see the opportunities and deviate to the opportunity path anyway.
Right.
So
What you
when you
focus
look
on is what's going to manifest.
Manifest, exactly. So don't focus on what you don't want. Don't focus on, oh, this is a blockage. This is another door closed. Focus on the opportunity. When you start changing the way you see things, and when you start talking about it differently, that's when you're going to see change in your life, because that's when you start changing your actions. That's because you see the problem, or the obstacle differently. You don't see the obstacle, you see the opportunity. Um, I have some herbs here for people who have like limiting beliefs about themselves, and need some extra, their mind needs to calm down and they need to change. So basil is a good one. Basil
Mhm.
is like one of my favorite ones. Basil, rosemary, and there's another one. They're almost good for almost anything you want to
Yeah,
do.
those are
They're
good
like
too.
core, that's like your core basic herb collection. Basil, rosemary, chamomile, so basil, chrysanthemum is really good. Mugwort, again, mugwort is a favorite herb of mine, um, that I highly recommend. Spearmint and thyme. So with these herbs, this is specifically for limiting beliefs. What you want to do is work with these herbs during the full moon if you can. Okay. You can also carry around aquamarine. That's a stone that you can carry around, damberite or rhodonite with you. You can carry that around. Now, you've probably seen people walking around with necklaces with gemstones, on them. These are ones that can really help. You can also work with the blue candle
Mm.
to balance your throat chakra, for negative self-talk. And even though it's our throat chakra, and we physically talk, this is also going to work your mind because it comes from the mind first. You can use a blue candle. I actually have a blue candle on my altar right now because I'm working on a few things. But you can definitely use that for negative self talk. You're going to want to light that candle, say your PRAY prayer, okay? And meditate with that if you can. Um, Okay, what you also need to work in this is, of course, the heart chakra. And I'm going to plug our 2 week self-love challenge, because the heart chakra is, I think, one of the main chakras. I think the heart chakra and our root chakra and also the solar plexus chakra are probably my three favorite chakras to work with, because the inner workings of those three really kind of dictate how everything else is gonna go.
Mhm.
Your heart chakra, you need that in balance and harmony so that not only you can work with yourself in a positive, healthy way, but again, you can work with others. And I mentioned this in our sacral chakra class. I think, but you need to be able to have that relationship with yourself and others in order to fully fulfill what you said, what your mission is when you come into the earth, what your path is. Um, whether that be helping others, whether that be becoming a mogul, whether that be opening up a chair, whatever it is, you need that in balance and in harmony with the others in order to be able to do that. Um, if your heart chakra isn't balanced, then your root chakra definitely is not balanced, because our root chakra talks about feeling safe and secure, being able to provide for ourselves. When your heart chakra is not in the right place, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not providing for yourself, and that's going to translate into your living condition as well, and how you feel stable and secure, and able to basically survive, survival mode. And that's when we see suicide and self-harm because we're not secure, because we're not stable, because our heart chakra is not balanced. It's messed
Mhm.
up. So yeah, that's what I have for negative self-talk.
I have like a oil that I like to make, like a
Mhm.
self-love oil. So I'll give you guys like the base of it. So if you want to make it to remove negative aspects of this, you'll want to make it on the waning moon. If you want to use it to bring in, you'll want to make it on the waxing moon. Okay.
Mhm.
So you're going to make this oil from jasmine. It's going to be rosemary, rose, and hibiscus. You're going to need vitamin E oil and grapeseed oil. Okay. So you just use a glass container, like a dropper bottle or something like that, that's been spiritually cleansed. You're going to enchant the herbs, put them in the bottle first, pour the oils in last. You can put in clear quartz chips. You can put in rose quartz chips to kind of help give the crystal energy. You can use amethyst chips, moonstone. You can use hematite. So whatever your spirits, are telling you to do, because you're divining, right? You're divining on your work. So you're gonna place them all inside of the glass. You're gonna pour the oils in last, and then charge it on your altar for 5 weeks. Okay, and then that oil is gonna be good to go. You can use it to anoint your heart chakra in the morning when you get up. So that is an oil that I use. And then I mentioned crystals. So I mentioned crystals that you guys can use too. If you have like the rough stones or the tumbled stones, you can meditate with those. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about anything we've said so far? We've covered a lot of content. Are you guys getting anything out of this? Is any of this sounding helpful to you guys? Like it would be something that you would be able to use to help you alleviate some of these mental health issues? Talk to us.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. In our self love challenge, we're going to be going deeper into discussion about the tools and remedies um, that we're discussing here. This is literally just a snapshot of what we're trying to provide. If you don't know how to create your own bath, you don't know how to enchant, not only are you receiving those things from us, but we're also going to give you the tools and the knowledge you need to be able to continue this work on your own at home, right? You can enchant
Exactly.
yourself. You can do all these things yourself. I'm really excited about the our journal that's going to be delivered electronically.
Yeah.
Um, I've been looking. I actually was looking for one, and I'm like, let me just create my own. But now we're having one sent out to everybody. It's going to be really nice.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get that out. Like it's going to be so good. Like so much time and energy has gone into this journal, and you guys are going to be pleased with the content. It's a really pretty layout. So I can't wait to get that to you guys. If you guys see me looking over here, my cell phone's over here, so I'm looking at the Facebook comments. So cool. I see that a lot of you guys are saying that it's going to be very helpful ideas with the herbs and things like that. That's good. We want to give you guys good content that you can use, that you can, put into practice into your everyday life to help you through these situations, because mental health is a very big deal in the Black community, and we need to all work together to heal it as a collective, for us and for our lineage, for people that are coming after us. Okay. All right. So, the next thing that we want to talk about tonight is anger. Okay. Anger is one of these emotions that are truly debilitating because it gets you so far from your line of equilibrium, right? It can make you do and say things that you typically wouldn't and ruin relationships in an irreparable way. Okay. It's usually the result of ego, you feeling victimized or righteous or justified. It could also come from a place of bitterness, or emotional pain. There is a such thing as justified anger, but is that usually what it is? You know, this emotion is so powerful, and we have to be careful that when we have anger, that it is righteous anger, and that we don't allow it to control our minds and our thoughts. Okay, so much that we black out or have these outbursts or outrages. We had a pop quiz in the traditional mentorship about what happens, what can happen when the outrage is there. Like this woman like killed a pregnant woman's child in an outburst of rage. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, like the things that you can do when you're in that state of anger, right? And so the first thing that I recommend is shadow work. That's always going to be the first thing that I recommend for people who suffer with anger. There's something that is deeper, okay, that needs to be addressed. Anger is what I like to call the surface emotion. It is an emotion that first appears but is usually attached to or has a stronger root emotion right underneath. So like ask yourself questions like, why am I angry, right? Who or what does this remind me of? Is this triggering from like something in my childhood or like a previous relationship? Okay. When was the last time that I felt this way? When was the last time that I was vibrating here? And why was I angry? When was the last time I vibrated here and why was I angry? Right? Is there a connection? Is there a connection to why I'm angry right now and why I was angry the last time I vibrated here? And if there is, you need to explore that connection and figure out where the root is so it can be plucked out. Okay? You have to pluck things out at the root or they grow back. Speaking of roots, you want to work with the root chakra, okay? Usually a blockage here can look like anger or insecurity or frustration, right? You can do this through meditation. I know we keep mentioning meditation, but y'all, I hope that us saying meditation over and over really drives the point home of how much you need to meditate. You can work with crystals too, like jasper. You can work with obsidian, which will like help to protect you from negative energies and things like that. You can work with ruby. You can also work with carnelian. That's another crystal you can work with. So another thing that you can do though is you can do a candle meditation with a red candle, and you address it in cinnamon, angelica root, and cedar. These are all herbs good for the root chakra. Okay. You're going to work with your ancestors to heal this chakra. And you'll do this candle for 6 days. If you want to know why 6 days, join mentorship. Okay. So you'll need to work with it for 6 days. So you'll probably need like 2 to 3 7-day candles, 7-day red candles. And you're going to pray Psalm 37 over that candle. Okay. As far as like where to get these candles from, you can make them yourself. I'm always an advocate of making candles. I make my own candles. You can make them yourself so that you can include the herbs and enchant them and things like that in the making process. If you're not that crafty, don't worry, it's okay. You can source them locally at your botanica, or you can find them on Amazon or Etsy. You can find your candles there. If you cannot find a red candle, you can use white. White is a fine substitute. It's universal. Okay. When you get done with the work, you can dispose of it at a crossroad. Okay. You can also take these same herbs that you're dressing the candle with and make a spiritual bath, and pray Psalm 37 while you're in the bath, if that's how you kind of like to meditate. Some people like to do water meditations. Root chakra is a fire energy. So, I would not, go that far, but if that's how you can connect, if that's how you can sync up, then take a bath, making sure it's hot. Okay. These are fire herbs, so it's going to still add that fire energy. But maybe if you're angry, this can help cool it down. Okay. So it's really about how you look at it. Make sure you pray over your bath if that's what you're going to do. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything so far? Something else you can do while I'm waiting to see if you guys have questions come in. You can do a visualization exercise, right? You can visualize this light blue light that is coming out of the center of your spine into your aura. Okay. That's going to help displace that black, red, anger color that's in your energy fields within and around your body. And this is going to help move the awareness out of the angry state of mind and into a more peaceful mood, right? You can accompany this with deep breaths through the nose and out of the mouth. Okay. So if you're, at work and you're about to slap a hoe, maybe try, visualization with some deep breaths before you make a crazy rash decision like that.
And that's why people say, you can't You can't. And I feel like people say you shouldn't say things when you're angry. I say you shouldn't say things to other people in any heightened state of emotion,
Hmm.
because you can say things that you don't mean. Even if you're super sad, you might say, I want to kill myself or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's super important to understand that our feelings are not, they are valid and we should acknowledge them, but they are not reality. If that, y'all get what I'm saying? So it's, we feel them. That's what we're experiencing. We're experiencing emotions, but that is not the actual reality of what's happening,
Of the situation,
of the
exactly. Y'all like
situation.
my
Right.
pup? Isn't Baby Yoda so cute?
It is so cute.
He
My
cute.
baby was Baby Yoda for Halloween. He
Mm.
didn't he didn't wear it though. He didn't wear his costume. It's still in my car right now with the tag on it. Like, I tried to make him put it on. He just refused.
He's like, nah, mom, I'm good.
He was only 2. Like, how you refusing the costume at 2? Like, how you gotta be about this?
So y'all, that was point number 4. Okay, we have one more point for you guys that Hunsi's going to cover, and it's on addiction. If you have questions about anything that we've said, go ahead and get them together. You guys know that we're going to take comments and questions at the end if you have them. Okay, so we'll go ahead and keep going. I don't see any questions.
Okay. Um, the first thing I want to say is rehab. I don't want to go straight into spiritual remedies. If you or somebody you know is dealing with um, drug addiction, please do whatever you can to be supportive and not an enabler. If you are dealing with an addiction, please find it within yourself, because addiction is it's a whole different monster um, of mental health. It really is a disease. And it's really hard to pull yourself out of there. So I feel like you should at least be in rehab kind of before you start spiritual work, because I'm not sure how powerful your spiritual work can be under the mental state that you're in. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure
Mhm.
how powerful it can be.
Yeah,
Um, what I do want to talk about are the implications that come with addiction. So those who are dealing with addiction, um, they definitely fall into an even worse moment of depression. They go deeper into the depthness of dark. I don't know if any of you guys watch Euphoria, um, but that kind of shines a light on addiction in the young people as well. But addiction opens you up to spiritual attack, and I go way much more into depth with this. I finished mentorship on demonology actually a couple of months ago, and I talked a lot about possession and what that looks like, and how it presents. So somebody who is addicted, they can definitely be the target of a parasitic entity, whatever you want to call it, that needs to live off of your, not off of your emotions. So, how are you feeling when you're addicted? You're lethargic, you don't have any motivation, you probably have some anger problems, violence, destruction, whether that be physically, emotionally, mentally, all of the things. Um, Different entities are attracted to that. So,
mm,
you putting yourself in a position where you're basically without armor. You've taken off all of your armor when you are addicted to drugs. You've taken off your shields from those different entities that probably couldn't see you before you were addicted or before you opened up those spiritual gates into yourself. Um, what I can say this is that this is both mental and physical warfare with drugs. Um,
absolutely.
you definitely need to, if I had a client that was dealing with addiction and they needed to purchase work from me, or if I needed to do something, I would definitely be working um, the third eye chakra, because that person needs the mental fortitude to be able to want to get help, to seek help, and then to also complete it. Um, the mind games that come with addiction are very scary. And so I know people, I have known people that were addicted, and they just, it wasn't that they didn't want to get help. It's literally a mental mind game. But also on top of that, their physical body is not well. Now that they're addicted to whatever, their physical body, if you're addicted, you can't be without it. So you go
Right.
through a whole withdrawal process. And so they're fighting against their actual physical 3D body to not only stop, but they also have to deal with the mental of being able to be strong enough to stay committed. So with that being said, I would also work the root chakra, so the third eye chakra and the root chakra, for somebody, so that they can start healing their physical body as well, so that I can almost loosen up the hold that the drugs have on their physical 3D body and get them more in balance with the earth and what's around them, and feeling secure without whatever drugs that they're doing. Um, but again, I don't necessarily, there are tons of different herbs you can use. It just really depends. Um, what I can say is that you guys should sign up for the course. And if you have more questions about drug addiction and specific herbs or spiritual remedies, that will be given there. But for right now, what I want to say is please seek seek medical attention, and then also you can really use prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need to use prayer, and you need to ask your ancestors for help. Do you have anything to add to drug addiction? Because that's a monster of a topic.
It really is, and I've known people in my life also who were addicted. But I do have some things about drug addiction. But I wanted to touch on like addiction, period. Uh,
Hmm.
you don't have to just be addicted to drugs. There are other things that you can be addicted to, right? Um, you can be addicted to food.
Hmm.
You can be addicted to exercise. You can be addicted to social media. Okay. These are all things that, can present as addictions that you might not have thought of when we're talking about addiction in the traditional sense. I wanted to throw that out there, that you can still do these things for other kinds of addiction. Okay. Um, because these are all things that start in the spiritual that manifest in the third dimension. Okay. Um, if I were working with a client that was suffering from addiction, I would probably make a poppet and include amethyst somewhere inside of that poppet, because it's known as the sober stone. Okay. If you want to, if you're, suffering with some kind of addiction, you can meditate with that stone for 21 days to help break an addiction. Meditation isn't going to be enough by itself. You're going to have to layer your work. You know what I mean? But definitely using that stone can help. It is known as the sober stone. Also, the blue tiger's eye can be used to help keep you tranquil and give you soothing energy that's going to help melt away that stress, and help the person stay sober after they've started their journey. Because like once you're in it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be sober. I'm gonna try to do this. It's hard staying on that path. Like the withdrawals kick in, and it can be awful to try to stay there. Okay, so like you're gonna need some work to kind of help you stay on the path. You can use blue tiger's eye to help you. Again, Hunsi and I are not licensed medical professionals. Like please seek out help, like professional help, if you are suffering with addiction. Okay.
Can I
There is help.
can I also add just real quick, like half the battle is addressing the addiction, whatever it is,
Hmm.
actually stopping, whatever has you, addicted. But the other part of it is being able to identify what the root cause of it was, right?
Hmm. Why you
So if
started
I'm
it in the first
addicted to
place.
something, right? So if I'm addicted to something and I stop, but I don't address what the actual why even started, what the core of the matter is, I'm probably more likely, I'm 100% more likely to go back or to find something, another addiction or something else to fill that void because I haven't done it. And usually that's where shadow work comes in. That's
Hmm.
where therapy comes in, addressing
Hmm.
those traumas, those triggers, whatever it is that forced you to start um, needing that relief that you thought drugs or food or social media or attention could give you, right?
Yep.
Oh, and this is completely unrelated, but it's related, but we kind of spoke on this before. Social media addiction is real, and also self-love, or a lack of self-love due to social media is real. If you find yourself scrolling and every time you see an Instagram model or somebody and you're wishing that that was your life, or you start hating on your own body, or you start hating on your own lifestyle, you need to be in the 2 week self-love challenge. It's
Mhm.
so easy to get wrapped up in social media reality when half the time, 90% of the time, they're not living great lives either. It's all a show. But if you
Yep.
find yourself wanting to get surgery, or needing to make money, or feeling like you need to scam in order to have a lifestyle, or only, just things that you see on social media, okay, and comparing yourselves to others, please sign up for the self-love ritual. um it's only 2 weeks, but you get tons of information. And you need this course. Social media definitely has impacted me, not in the ways that I wish my life was different, but in the ways of seeing that this is not reality, and it's almost like scary to me at
Mhm.
this point. How social media has kind of flipped the switch on how people view the world.
It really has. And it's changed so many people's lives for the worse. That comparison
Uh,
game. Um, and that can drive you into depression, that can make you have anxiety. Like Hunzi said, everything you see on social media is probably fake. It's been shopped, it's their highlight reel, and you're
mhm.
comparing someone's highlight reel to your worst moment. Is normally how it goes. Okay,
Yeah.
like, y'all know this. Okay, get in the self-love challenge if you have issues with that. So, you all, that is tonight's class. What questions do you have? What can we answer for you guys? Thanks for coming with us onto the late live. We love having you guys here with us. If you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and give it a like.
Like and share. If share this with your friends, share this with everybody. Like and share. Um, and you should also click the bell for updates on when live classes or discussions are happening as well. So you get the notification bell. So subscribe, hit the notification bell. So when we go live, you'll be able to tune right in without relying on a link, or, so you don't miss it.
So you don't miss anything.
Mhm.
Brittany Amber says, will you save the video? Yes, Brittany, it will be available in the Facebook group. It'll be available on Priestess Oshun's YouTube, as well as the Black Spectrum Network YouTube. So you'll be able to find them in those places. We will have the video up for you guys later, so you can go back and watch and kind of take the extra notes, because I know we can kind of cover this material pretty fast.
Mhm.
Okay. Other questions or comments?
Doesn't look like it. I guess
No,
we can always check the comments too if
we
people comment.
definitely can. You're welcome. No problem, love. All right. Thank you guys for coming out with us so much tonight. And until we meet, may the ancestors watch between me and thee. Good night.
All right. Bye bye.